Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Honorable Ministers, Members of Parliament, I wish to provide an update to this House on the Agriculture Census 2020. Mr. Speaker, sir, this current period marks an important milestone in Fiji's history, as the Ministry of Agriculture is right in the middle of conducting a nationwide agriculture census in Fiji. As you're aware, Mr. Speaker, Census of Agriculture provides fundamental data on the organizational structure of agriculture holdings, such as farm size, land tenure, livestock numbers, the use of machinery, as well as a number of holdings with each crop and livestock type. Mr. Speaker, reliable and timely agriculture data provides farmers, producers, consumers, buyers, exporters, and government the information they require to make well-informed decisions in business and policy. Farmers would want to know who are the players in the market, where they are, and what is the position in the market. Consumers would want to know who the suppliers are, where they operate from. Exporters would want production data, who are the major players and how they can transact with them to secure a long-term market. Manufacturers would want to ensure we have producers and suppliers who supply commodities for product development in the required volume in a consistent manner. And government would want to know the social, economic and market situation in the primary sector in both individual, household and national interest. Mr. Speaker, government will ensure that the data is obtained in a timely manner, is reliable and accurate, and is accessible to all policy formulation at their level. Government would want to use the data to direct and restructure and raise production in national interest. Government would want to use the data to address issues of rising household income, raising exports, raising national income. Government will also be able to ensure its objective of food and nutritional security at regional and national level are met. Government will also be able to know and ensure factor suppliers are getting the appropriate returns based on market conditions. Government will also be able to use the data to make long-term sustainable development plans given the national resource stock. Mr. Speaker, let me also enlighten the House that the Fiji's agriculture system is also part of the National Statistics System of Fiji. The National Statistical System is a group of statistical organizations and units within a country that jointly collect, process and disseminate official statistics on behalf of the national government. In Fiji, this is the role and responsibility of Bureau of Statistics under the Ministry of Economy. For compilation of agriculture statistics for economic analysis and measurement of agriculture, contribution to national output, national GDP, Bureau of Statistics sources its agricultural production data from the Ministry of Agriculture through its agriculture statistics system. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Agriculture has continued to improve its agriculture statistical system since 2014 in partnership with the Food and Agriculture Organization through the United Nations Global Strategy Initiative to improve agriculture and rural statistics. It has been an ongoing activity of the Economic Planning and Statistics section of the Ministry, and I want to assure this august House the Ministry will continue to improve its important exercise that is essential for us to set priorities, make informed choices, and implement better policies for sustainable agriculture development. I've held discussions with our staff of our statistics section and have given them a deadline with regard to coming up with a template for collecting national production data as accurately as possible. Mr. Speaker, all members present here today value and acknowledge timely and quality statistics is one of the significant components of our activities, especially in planning for development and policy. Through and through, during our Parliament discussions, we have debated on the use of reliable, correct and relevant information and data for decision making. For these reasons and for the betterment of the sector, the Ministry has embarked on a journey to improve its statistical system. I know you will agree with me that it will not happen overnight, but it is happening. Changes like having the right statistical infrastructure, continuous improvement of staff's capabilities, and introduction of statistical tools, etc., are all part of this continuous improvement. Mr. Speaker, conducting survey and census in a consistent and well-coordinated manner is one of the key pillars of improving and developing Fiji's agriculture statistics system. Census of agriculture is no doubt one of the significant data collection exercises undertaken throughout the world, especially in developing countries where farming activities is key to sustainable livelihood. It collates important agriculture information that will ensure better planning and formulation of appropriate strategies for the sector. It also allows government to analyze and measure impact of its intervention across time. Mr. Speaker said, policymakers at national and international level and those that develop investment strategies to enhance economic development face many challenges with the current changing pace of agriculture. While agriculture is the primary source to feed, clothe, and provide materials for food and housing for a growing world population, the challenge is at the same time to lift millions of people out of poverty, hunger, and reduce the impact of agriculture on the environment and global warming, and sustain water and land resources. These are issues that go beyond national boundaries. Improvement of agriculture statistics provide the vision for national and international statistical systems to produce the basic data and information to guide decision-making required for the 21st century. Speaker said, we can all agree that a well-designed and well-coordinated census of agriculture is an invaluable source of information for the agriculture sector of any country. So, Speaker said, allow me to briefly share with this august House an overview of the 2020 Fiji Agriculture Census, which is currently under implementation by the Ministry, which started last week 10th and will finish on 29th of February. Speaker said, the Agriculture Census is conducted every 10 years, and Fiji has precisely undertaken 4 censuses, 1968, 1978, 1991, and 2009. The 2020 census is the 5th in that series. All 4 previous censuses that I've just highlighted were conducted on a sample basis. And for this current census, it will include full coverage of the rural area, part of the peri-urban area, and selected urban villages targeting more than 75,000 farming households based on the 2018 Farming Household Review. In order for us to have a sharper and targeted policies that enables us to transform agriculture in Fiji, it is imperative that we capture everyone who is making a contribution in this sector. The primary decision to go with full enumeration exercise is that sampling methods cannot provide accurate information for small administrative subdivisions. The Speaker said, when the entire geographical space is not homogeneous, then it's very important that you try, if possible, to collect population data. And as you know, Mr. Speaker said, across Fiji, amongst the divisions, there's quite a bit of heterogeneity with respect to household, farming structure, etc. And therefore, Mr. Speaker said, this time around, we have decided that we'll go for population data amongst the rural and maritime division. However, Mr. Speaker says, some crops, while cultivated only to a limited extent, may be of great economic significance. Information on such crops can only be reliably informed from a complete census. Sampling methods cannot provide accurate information on variables that occur infrequently. So whilst the complete enumeration exercise is resource heavy, it provides a distinctive advantage for us in Fiji and will be a valuable tool in supporting us in coming up with firm policies towards transforming Fiji's agriculture sector, which will have a major impact on raising and addressing the issues of livelihood for the rural and maritime community. The Speaker said, government through cabinet approved and made allowance for us to conduct the 2020 agriculture census with a total allocation of Fijian $4.5 million. There is a great need to accept the role of agriculture in invigorating crucial economic segments. And this is an investment in achieving our aim of agriculture becoming the single biggest contributor to economic prosperity in Fiji. This approval spearheaded the preparation for the 2020 agriculture census with the aim of successfully achieving its immediate objectives. The Speaker said, this will enable us to establish baseline data on the structure of Fiji's agriculture sector and provide a framework for future agriculture census and surveys. It will improve Fiji's agriculture and rural statistics system capacity to generate quality agriculture data. It will provide timely and accurate quality evidence for planning and policy making. It will enable monitoring and progress of the sector towards its sustainable development goals. Mr. Speaker, guided by the 2020 World Census of Agriculture framework, this is the first time Ministry is conducting an integrated census for all 4 agriculture subsectors: crop, sugarcane, livestock, fisheries and forestry. Mr. Speaker, previously forestry and fisheries was not included in agriculture census. Mr. Speaker, this data collection exercise will ensure availability of small area data for primary sector, especially for the Ministry of Fisheries and Forestry, whose current database is populated mainly by registered entities who practice these activities on a commercial level. The 2020 Agriculture Census preparation was inaugurated with the formation of a National Steering Committee, whose members were made up of executive officers of ministries that administer the subsectors: Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Fisheries, Ministry of Forestry, Ministry of Sugar. Also part of the National Steering Committee are close stakeholders such as Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development, Ministry of Economy, Bureau of Statistics, Ministry of Women, Ministry of Ethnic Affairs and Ministry of Health. Technical officers from all these ministries and stakeholders were present in a number of technical working groups that designed the census questionnaire and methodology. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry is grateful to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, who have been our partner in organizing and implementation of this very important exercise, providing technical expertise and guidance. FAO provided 3 statisticians and 2 computer-assisted personal interviewing specialists who have been working with our census team in preparation for this national exercise. It is exciting to note that this will be the first in Fiji for officers engaged to collect data through the computer-assisted personal interviewing system on tablets. Now, I would like to personally thank our National Statistics Office, the Bureau of Stats, for the continuous support and provision of 700 tablets to be used by enumerators. The adoption of the technology in such an integrated process signifies the digital advancement that the government is implementing, keeping in par with trends in developed countries. The use of modern technology also allows us to make best use of our human resource, cutting out inefficiencies and eliminating rhetorical non-value-adding processes. Mr. Speaker, with this approach of collecting data electronically, we are able to observe in real time the actual data coming into our head office. The adoption of this new technology in the agriculture census will substantially improve the quality and transparency of data collected, shorten the time for data processing, and quickly disseminate results for census data users. Across the world, some countries are leading this global trend, and Fiji is now joining them. I'm sure we are all very proud to be part of this revolutionary move. The Fiji Bureau of Stats adopted this tool in the conduct of 2017 population and housing census, and the agriculture statistics system is just as excited to be part of the change. Mr. Speaker, I wish to inform this august House that the designing of the questionnaire for the 2020 census underwent continuous consultation and series of activities to ensure we formulate the perfect questions that will enable us to achieve the objective of the census and improve our agriculture statistical database. Reference document was 2009 census questionnaire, meeting with all the line ministries to identify the data needs, numerous technical working group meetings, questionnaire tests with the ministry staff internally, then questionnaire field pre-test, consultations were held with experts at FNU and USP. First time ever this was done. Pilot test of the questionnaire prior to this survey was undertaken from 4th to 8th November 2019, and there was users conference organized at Tanua Plaza 29 November to fine-tune the final questionnaire. And final amendment was endorsed by the National Steering Committee. The Speaker says the 2020 Agriculture Census questionnaire covers 13 sections. Section 1, household composition. This section will capture detailed information of all members of the household, clearly identify how the agriculture activity have contributed to their livelihood. It captures information such as household size, demographic details such as age, etc., economic activities, primary, secondary occupation and status, and also respondents identify farmer as an occupation and with a follow-up questions about types of agriculture activities. The second section has household particulars. This section is designed to capture information on the impact of agriculture in terms of households' living standards and conditions. The third section is on land. This section will provide data on actual land use in Fiji, which is crucial in analyzing agriculture productivity. Section 4 includes crops, crop types, and data collected in this section include type of crop planted, harvested by area, production, home consumption, and market supplies. Section 5 on livestock. This data, in this section, data will be collected on livestock and farm animals and identifies the type of livestock farm, stock counts, production, market, livestock feed, and livestock services. Section 6 on fisheries. This section identifies what type of fishing activities and other fishing details that the household participates in. Section 7 on forestry. The forestry section captures information pertaining to cultivation, harvesting, and sale of forestry products. For the first time, data will also be collected for some core products such as waterways and bananas. Section 8 on aquaculture captures information on cultivation of marine organisms, regular stocking, feeding, protection from predators, etc. Section 9 on climate change challenges. Again, Mr. Speaker said, given the issue of climate change, first time ever in the agriculture census, we have this section on climate change and challenges. Section 10 on equipment records the type of equipment, tools that the farmer has in their possession. Section 11 on agriculture services. The section will capture information, different types of support services that the farmer is able to get. Section 12 on food insecurity. This section captures the food insecurity experience of the farming household. It provides baseline data for further analysis of villages and settlements where people are most at risk of hunger. And the last section, section 13 on labor. This section captures basic labor force information of the household and allows for simple gender distributed labor statistics in the sector. Mr. Speaker said, as of week 1, given the census started last week, we were able to collect 18,247 households from the 71,153 total that we are supposed to collect over the 3-week period. Mr. Speaker said there is a slight reduction, slightly lower than the targeted for the week 1 because there was some issues in terms of getting to maritime area. So this is being rectified, and we expect to complete the full 71,153 households, farm households, by end of 3. That's the time frame for the census. This morning I had a brief meeting with the census team to look at backup strategies to ensure that given there was a slight shortfall in the targeted number of households, what are the backup plans to ensure that we are able to get the data collected within this time frame of from 10 to 29, because this is census. Census is about collecting data at a particular point in time over a geographical space. So, that backup plan is in force. Mr. Speaker says, government through the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forests can only improve and change its current agriculture services, create new agriculture programs for farming assistance that best suits farmers' needs, provide specific agriculture technical advice, and reach out to farms if there is quality information available. Data captured through the census will provide much needed statistics which will enhance development of Fiji's primary sector. Collectively, it will be our voice that determine the future of Fiji's agriculture sector. To conclude, the Ministry will continue to pursue the improvement of its agriculture statistics system, align its statistical activities to meet standards to ensure that all necessary information needed is recorded on time and no one is left behind. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.